fight the foe, scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the top. Pull together till the Grey Cups won. Go Argos, go, go, go. Until they reach the top. Pull together till the Grey Cups won. Go Argos, go Toronto, go. Go Argos, go, go, go.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 7 of the Argo Bounce Podcast Show, a weekly independent talk show devoted to the CFL's 19-time Grey Cup champion, your Toronto Argonauts, along with Nick Small and myself. Unfortunately, I have some sad news for everybody tonight. Nick Small, my co-host, will not be able to join us. This is the first time he's never been able to come on. He had a power outage at his home today in the Toronto area, and unfortunately, the power hasn't been restored. So Nick will be back, and hopefully we can reschedule with Nick in the next few days. But I do have some good news. The Argo Bounce podcast and pregame show will continue tonight, and I have a special guest. I met him probably about 6 weeks ago on the GO train in Toronto, and he was coming all the way from Missouri, I think about an hour outside of St. Louis, and his name is George Brown. He is a huge Toronto Argonauts fan and a fan of the Canadian Football League. So we're going to bring on our special co-host for this show tonight, George Brown. And anyone out there watching this live stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, please feel free to comment as well. And we're going to bring on George Brown right now. Good evening, George. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. And George, I want to say thank you for giving us some time tonight to come on here tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting. Yeah, we've been kind of, ever since we met on that train about 6 weeks ago, we've been kind of commenting back and forth on social media. And yeah, I'm just kind of excited to be on this podcast. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to the game, and yeah, looking forward to a great discussion today.
Before we continue with the show, there is an air quality alert in Winnipeg right now. So the game is supposed to kick off at 8:30 Eastern, which is, I think Winnipeg's on the same time zone as you on Central. So it's supposed to kick off 8:30 here, 7:30 your time. But we'll see if there's going to be a bit of a delay as well. And before we get into the game tonight, you got to tell us a little bit about yourself, George, and some of your banners in the background.
All right, so I just moved to Missouri. I've lived in so I'm from the US, of course. And I've lived in Connecticut, and then I lived in California for a little bit, and then kind of bounced back and forth from California to Connecticut. I recently just purchased a home in Missouri because my job was let me go remote. So I was like, well, I could at least afford a home down here because, unfortunately, in those northern states or in California, I was just kind of priced out of the housing market. I'm a quality manager. I work for a company that we do nuclear containment doors, and I do a lot of audits. So that's kind of like what I do for a career. I travel a lot for work, and then I also travel a lot for leisure and sports too. So I guess I can explain the banners here. Obviously, the one right here, and this is updated, by the way, because it has the 2024 one. These are just dynasty banners. So I'm in the room where I call it my own dynasty room, and I have like all these banners of all my teams on here. And then I'm also, even though like they moved out of St. Louis, I do get a little hate from it, but I'm still a Rams fan. But fun fact, when they did move, the fun fact, I will explain this. When they did move from St. Louis to LA, I was actually living in Connecticut at the time when that happened, and I protested that. I wasn't really happy with the team, so for a year I didn't want to watch them. So that's when I actually got into the CFL and, kind of adapted them as like a secondary league. And then, now that St. Louis also has the Battlehawks, with the UFL, like now I got kind of like a third team. So for me, football's year round for me because, the Super Bowl ends in February, UFL starts in March, and then right when the UFL playoffs, start, the CFL season starts. So, and then I also got NCAA too, and I'm also an Irish fan too. So got 4 football teams that I'm really dedicated to. And thanks to the Rams moving from St. Louis to LA, even though I wasn't living there at the time, that's kind of why I became an Argo fan. So,
George, currently in Missouri, obviously the internet and social media and the websites help, but what kind of CFL coverage do you get down in Missouri currently?
So we have a thing called CFL Plus. It's free to sign up if you live in the States. And if the game is not on the CBS Sports Network, you can watch any game, anytime on that platform. The great thing is it's free, and I like it. It used to a couple years ago they did have a deal when ESPN Plus, so I would watch the games on ESPN Plus. But then when they moved to CBS Sports Network, they they do the marquee games on CBS Sports Network. I haven't checked which platform the game tonight is on. I'm guessing it's on CBS Sports Network, or I can catch it on CFL Plus. So that's kind of how we watch it down here.
Going back to the early 1980s, the CFL was on ESPN. They were on ESPN a lot, and they were also on NBC back in 1982. So there always has been some kind of American coverage of the Canadian Football League. And got to ask you this, George, since you're an Argo fan and you love the CFL, what do you love about the CFL game the most?
I just like that it's different. You got three downs instead of 4. I like the bigger field. I like the goalposts. The goalpost being more like an obstacle, because I'll never forget that playoff game, Saskatchewan versus Winnipeg, and the ball getting pegged on the Cody Fajardo pegged it on the goalpost, and it cost them the game. And I believe it was either 2019 or 2021. It cost them to go to, and then Winnipeg ended up going to one of their 5 in a row Grey Cups.
Well, one thing, George, by the way, the NFL actually had their goalposts right on the goal line like the CFL did until 1978 when they moved it to back behind the end zone. So I like the NFL, but I like the CFL, and I just wish the younger people would give it a shot, because you can love the NFL, but you can love the CFL. It's and college football. It's still professional football. What are your thoughts on the CFL's TV coverage from TSN? How do you like the commentators?
I think the commentators are all right. But they tend to. I mean, especially the pregame. You could kind of tell they're more like hockey fans, especially Kate Burness. She's, they're more this is secondary to them, and you kind of get that attitude from them a little bit. That's the only thing I actually will say that's kind of a little bit of a negative and a down, because I really feel like they should pump it up a little bit more. And then I believe Chris Cuthbert who
He was with the CFL, but now he's with Sportsnet. He's
he's with Sportsnet.
Sportsnet. Yeah. So, but I know these guys. I think they do a good job. My only concern is they let Matt Dunnican go, who's like a CFL lifer, Hall of Fame quarterback here. Who's on TSN for many years, and they brought in former Seattle Seahawks tight end Luke Wilson. I don't know him personally. I haven't met him yet. I know he had a good career in the NFL as a tight end, but Luke Wilson has come in to kind of stir up the Hornets nest with the CFLs, because if you know this, CFL fans are all passionate, and it's not just one team. Everybody kind of supports everybody's team. It's kind of like a family compared to the NFL corporate machine, in my opinion.
I agree with that too. Like, I mean, people say I'm crazy for going to games kind of by myself. But I'll never forget when I went to the Grey Cup in 2022.
Tell us about it.
So I'll tell you like some crazy things that happened during that. So I flew to Montana because the flights were crazily expensive, because like I booked it a week before the Grey Cup. So I flew to Billings, Montana, and drove 7 hours over. I wasn't aware. So I'll tell you about the experience in the drive and the drive back, and then I'll kind of tell you about the game. So, like the drive there, I didn't realize how long it was, and then the drive back, there was a couple crazy things that happened. I'm very good at knowing where I am, and I like to say my mind is like a GPS. So I have a great sense of direction, but that was like one of the only times I actually got scared, drive, because I had a hotel back in the States. So what happened was I get pulled over because I send warning, like someone high beams me. I send them a warning light. Happened to be a cop, and apparently that's illegal in Saskatchewan. I don't know why. I got pulled over for that. She didn't give me a ticket or anything, but she said, no, we don't do that here. And she was cool about it. And then I got kind of lost. And then I tried to get to the border checkpoint back to my hotel, and come to find out up there's no such thing as 24-hour border opening. So it was closed. So I couldn't get across the border.
Wow. Did not know that.
Yeah, so I never told you that story. So I couldn't get across the border. Drove around and it was pitch black. Almost hit an elk. it was crazy. I ended up in Evanston, and come to find out later on, I didn't know this until after. I was near a 24-hour checkpoint in Portal. It crosses into Dakotas, and then I would have been able to get to the hotel. So I almost ran out of gas, and I was like, okay, I found a small town in Evanston. I was like, okay, I'll just double book. Like, at least my stuff's safe in the U.S., but I'll just book a hotel there. So that was kind of the crazy thing. And then I was able to get across the next day, but I did not know about the portal. And I was only like 10 minutes away from Portal at that point. And that was, but hindsight being 2020, I didn't know that at the time, getting lost. So yeah, that was like my crazy driving experience. Driving all the way, just being dedicated to the Grey Cup. And then at the Grey Cup, I met this guy named Rudy, and we became good friends. And every year, probably not this year though, only because I did buy a house this year, so like money's kind of tight now. But every year since then, like he gives me free tickets, and he lets me stay at his house, and we became good friends at the Grey Cup. And he's a big Rider fan.
They love the Saskatchewan Riders are our version of the Green Bay Packers, in my opinion. They love the Rough Riders down in Saskatchewan. And George, even if you go to a game by yourself, which I've done many times, you're not really alone, because when I go down to Toronto, I always run into people on the GO train, such as yourself, or at the stadium. And I just find the CFL stadiums, the fan environment is more friendly than the NFL environment, in my opinion.
I'd say so too. I've gone to Rams games by myself too, but I did meet some great people there. In fact, I met a good ticket scalper there I'm still trying to get her to sell me the tickets to the opening day game against the Texans down there. Because I already booked the flight down there. I just haven't gotten the tickets yet.
Make sure you wear your Argos gear down there.
I will wear Argos gear and St. Louis Rams gear. How about that?
Hey George, when I did an interview with you in June, you do have an Argos jersey. Tell us about the jersey and the player.
Oh, that was Chad Kelly. I've been following Chad Kelly since college, and then the Broncos. I know he's like the nephew of the great Jim Kelly of Buffalo. I've just thought like this. I mean, he's gotten into trouble, and it's all his fault. I'm not going to deny that. And probably that's why he's not in the NFL. But I really do feel like he's gotten a second life in the CFL. And he's found a second. He's finally found his niche. And when he's healthy, he's just dominant. It's just, a man against boys right there. He's really talented and I feel like the 2022 Grey Cup, being there, the way Macbeth was kind of struggling towards the end, I feel like if Chad Kelly didn't lead that game-winning drive, I feel like one of those years on that banner would not be on there right now.
He was a big part of it. And you have a Curly Gittins Jr. jersey too, right?
Yes, I have Curly Gittins as well. Yep.
Yes. And he's with the Elks. He's a good guy, so I'll let him know that you're a big fan of his. Unfortunately, the CFL is like the NFL, and there is a high turnover rate. Guys go to other teams. It's strictly business, so it's hard. As for Chad Kelly, yeah, a great talent. Fortunately, last year he had the 9-game suspension. Then he came back, and then in the East Final, he broke his leg, and he still hasn't fully recovered yet. As of now, the Argos have put him on another 6-game injury list. So the earliest Chad could come back is now sometime in September. And the thing is, George, he hasn't played in a long time, and you can't expect him when he's cleared to play at an MVP level. It's to me, it would take 2 to 3 games at least for him to find his footing. But Nick Arbuckle, I think, has done a good job filling in for Chad this year. And the game against Winnipeg, which I was at as media, Nick Arbuckle was 22 for 31, 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran the ball 3 times for 32 yards, and he didn't make any bad decisions at all. And I don't know how much, if you watched any of the game later on, George, but to me, that was their best 60 minutes performance of the year in their 31-17 win over Winnipeg.
I think that was Arbuckle's best performance of the year by far. Yeah, like you mentioned, the 316 yards and the 2 touchdowns. He's usually a game manager, but that game he was just kind of on fire. And to go up against, the defending Western champions, the defending 5-time in a row Western champs, and not only do it, but do it again and have a great performance like he did at the Grey Cup. It gives me great confidence into this game tonight in Winnipeg for sure.
Absolutely. And one of the big plays in this game, obviously the Argos won the coin toss and they deferred to the second half. Winnipeg had the ball first and they moved it, and then the defense held them. And then Toronto, when they got the ball, I really like this. I don't know if you saw much of the game or not, but the first play call was a trick play to Jarian Grant. Javon Grant. He's their special teams guy. He doesn't normally play offense, and he threw the ball 41 yards to Daniels, and that really set the tone. That trick play, 41 yards, and then the Argos went up 6-0. Liam missed an extra point, which he never does. Winnipeg did come back in this game and went up 10-9, but the Argos did not cave in, down 10-9, and they were up 25-10 at halftime, and then in the second half, the defense did an outstanding job. Winnipeg had 7 turnovers in that game, and Toronto only had 1. When you win the turnover battle in the NFL, college football, or in the CFL, you're generally going to win games. And the Argos also got a couple interceptions as well. And other than the one miscue by the running back LeBourne, He fumbled the ball and Winnipeg recovered for a touchdown. The defense only gave up 10 points in that game, George.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Yeah, 2 fumbles, recoveries, 2 interceptions. To me, that was as well as Arbuckle's performance with the 316 yards.
Yeah, and we have
that
a
was
viewer. We have a viewer, Ken, on, and thank you, Ken, for correcting me. For some reason, I thought it was Daniels, but you're right, it was Coxie. Grant's 41-yard completion, which I thought was going to be interception by Winnipeg, but thankfully not. Went to DeMonte Coxie, who had 6 catches for 145 yards and 1 touchdown. Ken, thank you for watching, and thank you for correcting me there. George, go ahead.
I was just saying I was actually already finished, but I just said the 2 interceptions, the 2 fumble recoveries, and then the Arbuckle's performance. Those were the 3 big takeaways of the game for sure.
I think the coaching staff needs to get credit because they got this team ready to play, and the Argos, other than the one little miscue with the fumble, I thought they played 60 minutes, and this was kind of a must game for them. You didn't want to go to 1-6, and also the Argos had gone 0-3 at BMO Field, which they haven't done that since 2019. So this home win, it was huge, and they're really back in the picture of it. By the way, Ottawa won last night, so I know the Argos are still in 3rd place at 2-5, but now they have Ottawa breathing down their necks 2-5 with their 31-14 win last night against Calgary. One thing, George, I don't care what your record is in the CFL. Any team in the CFL can win it on any given night, regardless of your record.
Oh, I agree. You see so many games, and that's one of the things why I like the CFL is I'll never forget that one game last year against Ottawa, where the Argos were up big, and unfortunately the Argos were on the receiving end of this, but they almost blew that game. They almost blew a big. I mean, I couldn't remember exactly what the score was, but I mean, I remember they kept turning the ball over, and towards the end, and then Ottawa kept getting onside kicks. You cannot in the CFL no lead safe. If you're up by 30 points, it's not safe even with 3 minutes left because you never know. And whereas the NFL, you can run the clock out after their 2-minute warning.
Absolutely. Hey, George, are you good to be on for another 15 minutes? Are you good for about another 15 minutes?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I did some media interviews, so I'd like to play a couple of them. I did Ryan Dinwiddie, the post-game conference with Ryan Dinwiddie. I interviewed the punter from Australia, John Haggerty, who I think is capable of being in the NFL. And I interviewed Kevin Mattel, number 10 for the Argos. He's a young receiver out of Montreal, Quebec, and he was a rookie last year. And Kevin Mattel wears number 10, which is Terry Greer's number. One of the greatest Argos receivers of all time wore number 10. But I'm just going to play this little interview I did with Kevin Mattel in the Argos locker room after the game for everybody here on the Argo Bounce Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and hit the like notification to my YouTube channel. Kevin Mattel with CDP after the game. Locker room here at BMO Field after tonight's impressive Argonaut 31-17 win here. I have wide receiver Kevin Mattel. Kevin, can you just tell us about the win tonight by the team and how important it was to get a W here at home?
Oh, at home. First win at home of the season, second win obviously. It feels good against Winnipeg, a good organization, but it feels good for the team to get 1-0 today.
What's been your biggest development as a wide receiver in your second year than from last year? How much have you evolved?
A lot. It's a lot. I think last year I had to come from U Sport to CFL, and I think the step is big, but I think now I'm getting comfortable. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to get better every day, every week.
For Argonaut fans, how would you describe yourself as a wide receiver and a player and a teammate?
I think I'm trying to be physical. I'm trying to help support the run as I can, trying to get the ball and yak it up. I think I'm a physical player, and when I get the opportunity to get the ball, I'm trying to make the most out of it.
How important was this win after last week's loss to Montreal, 26-25, just to get the team's confidence back up?
Yeah, for sure. I think every week is important. We're trying to win every week, and to get that one, it's important. And obviously next week we got to face them again in their backyard, so we're excited.
As a Toronto Argonaut lifelong fan as well as media, you're wearing a number 10 for the Toronto Argonauts. One of the greatest receivers of all time wore number 10, Terry Greer. Do you know much about Terry Greer?
I don't. I'm going to do my research.
He's considered the greatest receiver in Argonauts history, so that number is pretty special to me and fans, yeah.
Okay. I'll do my research.
One last question I was going to ask you. Can you just tell us some French words of food in Montreal, some of the language?
What you trying to know in French? Some food?
Yeah, poutine and smoked meat.
Some poutine?
Poutine and smoked meat.
Some smoked meat. I think you got it yourself, Chris. We got some poutine, obviously. It's more of the south shore of Montreal, but on the island it's more of the smoked meat. Yeah.
And last question: Are you a WWE fan, wrestling fan by any chance? No.
I'm not.
Okay. If there was one guy in the locker room that could make it as a pro wrestler, who would it be?
Who would it be?
I would say Whit McManus.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I'll go with McManus too.
And finally, just quick thoughts on Winnipeg again next week on short notice. And where can my audience find you on social media?
I'm mostly on the Instagram. I think it's K Mittal dash 08. For some reason, I can't change my number. That used to be my number in Laval, but mostly on Instagram or X or Facebook.
Well, Kevin, I want to say thank you so much for doing this and continued success and good luck next week against Winnipeg on the road.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
George, what are your thoughts on that interview and with Kevin Mittal?
Oh, I thought it was a great interview. Like I just, it's funny how you asked him if he was like it was just like a random question where you asked him if he was like a WWE fan. You know?
I like doing that. I like to do that too. The guys are really great. The NFL guys, it's a different thing. But the CFL guys are really laid back. And Kevin Mittal, I think Mittal in his second year has really developed. And this Argonaut team, if they can protect Arbuckle, which has been an issue with the offensive line this year, and in this game, that's a negative. Winnipeg did have 5 sacks of Arbuckle. Arbuckle is not Chad Kelly or he's not Josh Allen in terms of mobility. But if they can protect Arbuckle somewhat and give him time, I think he can get the ball to Coxie and Mittal, Daniels, Unger. David Unger is kind of the CFL's poor man version of Wes Walker. He's not very big. He's not very fast, but he has good hands, David Unger, and he knows how to run good routes as well. So I really feel Kevin Mittal has really stepped up in his second year as an Argonaut receiver. And I think the Argos have a very good receiving core. And one of the issues with this team this year, George, is the running game. And they weren't great against Winnipeg, but they did have 116 yards, and LeBourne had over 50 yards, and McCon, I think that's what they call him now, he had 34 yards, and Arbuckle had 32. So there wasn't any dominant running performances, but they had 116 yards on the ground, and that's a positive, and hopefully they can get to that tonight in Winnipeg.
I think with the departures of with the departures of our running backs from the last few years, it's the running game is going to be more of a running game by committee.
I totally agree with you, George. And as we're talking right now, I'm just going to give another interview with one of the Argos punters. To me, he's one of the best punters in the Canadian Football League, and he's from Australia. And John Haggerty I had on as well. So if you're okay, I did another interview with John Haggerty, number 29, at the end of the game. And I'm going to play that interview right now, and then we'll get your thoughts on the interview with John Haggerty. Just 1 second, and I'm going to play that interview right now, courtesy of Chris Pomay's YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe and hit the like notification. Here's John Haggerty, the Argos punter, talking to me after their last win, 31-17 against Winnipeg in their locker room. Chris Pomay live here in the Toronto Argonauts locker room here at BMO Field after tonight's Argos impressive 31-17 win, their first home win of the season. I have Toronto Argonauts punter John Haggerty. John, just thoughts on tonight's performance by the team?
I thought it was the first time we had a full game, offense, defense, special teams. I feel like we dominated, and it was very, very fun to be a part of.
I was going to say all three phases did well tonight, and Liam, 1,200 points, and yourself, and it's just important to get that win now, and you got to take on Winnipeg next week.
Yeah, we just have to build on it, man. We always knew we had a good team, a solid team, so now it's just about stacking the wins.
Got to ask you this as a punter. How difficult is it to punt in this stadium sometimes with the wind off Lake Ontario?
Yeah, it's weird. So you warm up, right? And then you come out for game time, and the wind switched. And every quarter it seems to switch. So it's kind of, you got to find out what sort of punch you're supposed to be hitting each quarter, because it swirls around here.
What can you tell my audience what makes a good special teams unit? The punter, the field goal, but also the line too. Everybody's got to do their job.
Yeah, right. So it's snapped, right? And then we have to block, make sure we don't let anyone through any gaps. And then on top of that, once you punt it or you kick a field goal, whatever, you have to get as many people downfield to cover as you can, because you can flip the field on a punt, but you have to stop the returner at the same time.
What's a fun fact about John Haggerty, the punter, the player?
Oh, fun fact. I have no idea. Oh, man. I have no idea. I don't know. You got me there. You stumped me.
Oh, wow. Okay, what's your favorite thing about the CFL, this game?
I love how involved I am with the game. You know, coming from college down south, you might get a punt or two a game. Here I can punt 6, 7, 8 times. And it's you kind of always feel like you're in the game, which is nice.
Out of all the CFL stadiums, which one is the toughest to punt in?
Toughest? Besides this would have to be the toughest. Probably Hamilton would probably be second, because Hamilton gets swirly in there too.
Is there a story behind your number?
There is, actually. My son was born on the 29th. So reason for 29 is his birthday.
And my birthday's on June 29th, too. That's a good number.
There we go. Perfect.
And what are your thoughts on the playing Winnipeg again next week on August 1st on the road?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough matchup. I think they're going to be a bit more prepared for us. But, you know, we have a solid team that can win anywhere, so we're not phased.
For Toronto Argonaut fans, after this win tonight, you're 2-5. What would you tell them going forward with this team?
Stay ready. Stay ready. We're going to keep winning, and we're going to keep rolling.
If you're on social media, where can people follow you, find you?
I'm only on Instagram, and that's Argo Bounce.
All right, well, John, thank you so much for doing this interview, and congrats on the 31-17 win tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was John Haggerty, the punter for the Toronto Argonauts, and he's a native of Australia. And George, thoughts on the interview with John?
Well, like one of the things, even going to the game and or watching on TV, he mentioned about the swirls like off Lake Ontario in the stadium. You don't really see, like, as a punter, you actually feel that. So like we're just watching the game, and yeah, you can feel the wind blow on you when you're, I've been to BMO Field several times now, but like you don't really see how it affects the game like they do, because it's just like up front. So him describing it, it's still, you can't fathom that, and then you also mentioned the wind in Hamilton as well. That really, I really felt like that cost Hamilton possibly that 2019 Grey Cup, because the wind, they were against the wind in the fourth quarter, if I recall. And but yeah, and it's just funny how like little things like weather just affect the game so much. In any of the football leagues, which is why I'm kind of like going. if I'm being honest with the NFL, like a lot of those teams are now going to dome stadiums. I don't like that because you're taking the weather element out. Like,
yep.
Yeah, and then for example, the NFC North, pretty soon there's only going to be one team that's playing outdoors. It's going to be the Packers. So like they're going to have such an advantage. And at least in the CFL, there's only one dome team. It's BC. I still feel they should be playing outside too, but at least you have the weather and the especially in the Grey Cup, like that snowy Grey Cup in 2017 against Calgary. I feel like that was a godsend.
That was fun. And one thing too, the CFL still lets special teams do their job. The NFL with that ridiculous dynamic kickoff rule, I can't stand it. I know there's things about the NFL people like over the CFL, but the CFL special teams, not just the punter and not just the kicker, but the special teams unit in a whole can change complexion of a game. And I wouldn't be shocked tonight, George, if Grant returned a touchdown for the Argonauts on a punt or a kickoff. I wouldn't be shocked if the Argos got Jerrion Grant gets a touchdown today. And he's a former Blue Bomber, and he's going to be playing back in Winnipeg. So I really feel he's going to have a good game tonight against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm really like after that last game, with Arbuckle's performance in the defense, I'm kind of getting my confidence back in the team, and you kind of see it with the culture. Because I think the culture with the Toronto Argonauts really changed when Pinball Clemens became the GM and Ryan Dinwiddie became the coach. Because I mean, that 2019 season, I remember that very well.
It was awful.
Yeah, it was an awful season. Fun fact: my first CFL game was when Calgary, when Calgary played Toronto in that year, and I just left my best friend's wedding, just to drive up to Toronto to go up there, and then I had a little day trip where I kind of went to the Hockey Hall of Fame too, and then that was my first CFL game. And that was not a fun first experience, but thankfully most of the time since then, when I go attend an Argos game, normally they win.
George, for those people that are watching this live stream in the States or on audio lately, and they've never been to a CFL game, as an American, what could you tell those people and why they should give the CFL a chance?
I just think you should it's a different game because again, I'm a UFL fan too. I mean, I'm wearing my Battlehawks jersey right now. Just want to share that. But the game's pretty much, it's the same size field, same 4 downs. College, I mean, the only real difference is the foot rule. You have to get 2 foot in, 1 foot in instead of 2 in the NFL. There's really not that much. But I feel like the CFL has its own niche. It's close enough where an American if you watch American football in the States, you can understand it. But it's different enough where it's its own niche. I think that's the best way to explain it.
And you can like both leagues. It's just yeah. I'm hoping, George, you'll get to come back to a game this year. And I would like to introduce you to Mike Hogan, who's the Argos play-by-play announcer. He's a Philadelphia Eagles fan too, but Mike has been the voice of the Argos for 15 years on TSN 1050, along with Ben Grant, and they do a great job. And speaking of Hogan and Ben Grant, they'll be on TSN 1050 tonight or on TSN 1050 website, 8:30 kickoff Eastern. Since this is an Argos pregame podcast too, George, I want to get your thoughts on tonight's rematch at Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg versus the Bombers team without their starting quarterback, Zach Collaros.
Well, not having Zach Collaros, I think the defense should really take advantage of that. They really need to do what they honestly. Defense needs to just show up and do what they did last week. Get 7 turnovers was insane. And they had a lot of turnovers in the great. They got a lot of turnovers in the Grey Cup. In fact, fun fact: the only time I won a FanDuel bet was I bet an interception, pick six, and that was the only time I've won a FanDuel bet on there. I've lost every single one since, and I don't do that anymore. But yeah, I think the defense showing up. Arbuckle needs to, don't do too much. Manage the game. If it's there, throw it, but definitely don't throw into double coverage. The Argos do need to get the running game going though. Like that's the one thing, like big thing they need to get is they need to get that running game going. I think Winnipeg's going to be coming out there to smash them, to be honest.
I think the offensive line for the Argos tonight has to play better because they're on the road in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg gets 33,000 fans a game. I believe Winnipeg sells out all their games. I really feel the Argos in this game have to get off to a good start in the first quarter, and they need to get points on the board, and they've got to protect Arbuckle because if Arbuckle, God forbid, gets hurt right now and is out of the game, you got two young kids in Tucker Horn and Doge, and I like both of these young kids. I think they're going to be really good quarterbacks in the CFL going forward, but they got to make sure Arbuckle doesn't get hurt either. And I think the offensive line tonight would probably want to cut that sacks down from 5, maybe down to like 2 or none. Winnipeg does have a good front 4. So I feel if the Argos offensive line can give Arbuckle enough time, I think they should be able to move the ball efficiently on Winnipeg, and they should be able to get touchdowns. They were 1 for 4. The Argos were 1 for 4 in the red zone. I would like to see that improve against Winnipeg on the road tonight. Obviously, Liam had 6 field goals, and he has over 1,200 career points. Liam Halarua, I think that's how you say his last name. I got to learn his last name, so I do apologize.
I'm the same way. I
gotta apologize. But Liam, I've talked to before. He's a really good guy. To me, he's a CFL Hall of Fame player as a kicker, and he's Mr. Reliable. When the Argos need points, he comes through for them. And I want to say congratulations to number 70, Liam, for over 1,200 CFL points. Whatever league you're in, NFL, CFL, college football, 1,200 points or more is a lot. I would like to see the Argos get a few more touchdowns. The score last week was 31-17, and everyone's like, pretty competitive, close game. It really wasn't. The Argos really dominated the game, and if the Argos could have got 1 or 2 more touchdowns instead of settling for 6 field goals, I think this game would have been worse than 31-17, in my opinion.
I think one thing we've seen in the last few years, with especially since the first Grey Cup in 2022 with Winnipeg, is the Argos just come to play Winnipeg though. Like for some reason,
they have their number. They have their number.
Yeah, they have their number. For some reason, no one in the West has their number because no one's been able to get out of the West besides them for the last 5 years. Yeah, like the Argos just have their number. I mean, maybe Montreal, that was only 1 year though. But yeah, the Argos, they play them well. For some reason, they just show up.
Right now, Winnipeg is 3-3. That's okay, 500, and they're in third place. I know Winnipeg last year was 0-4, and then I think 2-6, and everyone counted them out, and they went back to a 5th Grey Cup even though they didn't win. This year is different. Caleros, to me, is coming to the end of his great career, just with the wear and tear and all the injuries. And this team, Winnipeg, has lost a lot of good players the last couple years, just like the Argos. I think these two teams, who have been the most successful teams in the CFL the last 5 years, I think have lost the most talented players off the roster. And how much of a difference would Kenny Lawler make with Winnipeg right now in the receiving core? And now he's doing it with Hamilton. So both of these teams are kind of in a transition, and Winnipeg doesn't want to lose a 4th straight game. They're 3-3. They're still in it, but they don't really want to go 3-4. And when's the last? And Winnipeg generally, except for last year, doesn't lose 4 games in a row. And Winnipeg last home game, they got smoked by Calgary. So I think Winnipeg's going to come in tonight, and this game is going to be I think it's going to be a physical type football game, and I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I think the team that had the less miscues will probably win this game, and I wouldn't be shocked. And they've got a very good field goal kicker too, by the way, Sergio Castillo. Him and
Oh yeah.
and Liam. To me, Sergio and Liam are the two best kickers in the Canadian Football League. So those are my keys for tonight. The Argos have to run the ball and get that running game going. They got to protect Arbuckle, and I think the defense, if they can make another big play again, will help them as well. George, what are your keys to an Argos win tonight against Winnipeg?
The keys to the game is, defense and running the ball. I think the running game has lacked with the Argos since AJ Ouellet's departure. I'll be honest.
And Kadeem Carey, and letting Kadeem Carey go too. Yes, cutting him.
That's true. That was AJ Ouellette 2 years ago. He was a beast for the Argos. He kind of reminded me of like a mini version of like Jerome Bettis. The way he would just barrel over everybody.
Yes.
And just, I was actually kind of shocked. Again, like I was pretty shocked last year when the Argos won. I'm very happy they won it, but I was, especially when Chad Kelly went down. But running game. The running game needs to get going. The defense needs to show up like they did last week. And then I think what you mentioned, the offensive line needs to give protection. And the thing is, getting good protection, you start off with the running game. So you're able to get some good runs in, then the play action becomes a threat.
And you want to stay out of the second and longs against Winnipeg, because Winnipeg is just going to blitz you. If you can keep it to 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3, you have so many more options than 2nd and 10, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20. So eliminate the penalties. They had too many penalties in this game, George. 7 penalties for 75 yards. So the only 2 negatives in this game, I think, were the penalties and the offensive line giving up 5 sacks. So hopefully they can cut both those numbers tonight. But how do you feel this game going, George? What's your prediction?
I'm gonna go Argos 20-17. I think that it's going to be like you mentioned, it's a low-scoring game. They're in Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg's going to show up and play better defense this time, and I think the Argos are just going to. It's probably going to come down to like a last-minute field goal. That's kind of what I'm predicting.
I'm going to go with the Argos winning this game too. I think they're going to win it 23-20. So you've got it 20-17. I have it 23-20. I think it's going to be a 3-point game, and I think it's going to come down to a special teams kick at the end of this game, and who knows, maybe some overtime as well. Are you going to be able to watch this game live?
Yeah, I'm going to watch this tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to put this on my big screen tonight and watch this. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, Chris, with the move, like I've been kind of watching most of the games, like, after the fact. But like now that I'm like settled in, like I'm going to be trying to catch more of the games like live now. So I was planning on watching this live tonight.
I do this segment. Okay. I do this segment with Nick. Unfortunately, Nick would have been with us tonight, but somebody hit a hydro pole by his home today and knocked the power out. So he's going to be without power until probably tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow or Sunday. So Nick and you will connect on here one day, I promise. Okay. Nick is an encyclopedia of Argos info in Canadian football history. And I think you guys would connect really well.
Oh, awesome.
Hey, George, before we wrap this show up, I'm going to do my CFL Week 9 power rankings and predictions, and I'll get you to help me with the predictions part. My power rankings, George, I'm going to get them. I'm going to say them and see if you agree with my picks. Number 1 in the CFL right now, I go with Saskatchewan 6-1. Number 2, Hamilton 5-2. Number 3, Montreal 5-2. Number 4, Calgary is now 4 now. They're 5-3, coming off 2 straight losses. Number 5, I have Winnipeg at 3-3. Number 6, I have BC 3-5. The number 7 team in this league, I have Toronto at 2-5. Number 8, I have Ottawa 2-5, and number 9 and the last place in the CFL right now is the Edmonton Elks at 1-5.
I'm not. The only thing I disagree with, I would swap Montreal and Hamilton. Maybe that's a little biased in me because I can't stand Hamilton. I'll be honest.
But they have a good team, whether you like them or not. They've done a
That's
really
true.
good job. They've done a good job adding Kenny Lawler and Amos and Peters to their defense. And Bolivio Mitchell is playing at a MOP level right now. So I know it's still early, but I really feel Hamilton has a really good team, and they've already beaten Montreal. So that's why I've given them the edge over Montreal, because they've beaten Montreal head to head.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean, it's still early, and they had been struggling the last few years, so that's why I didn't, based on like more recent history, like that's why I was trying to put Montreal ahead. Again, a little bias in that too. Not gonna lie.
Let's do our CFL Week 9 predictions. Me and Nick usually do it. We can't do last night's game because that's already done. Ottawa shocked Calgary. What was it? 31-11, I think. I did not see that happening. I know Calgary's quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr., was out or didn't play, but I didn't see Ottawa winning that game big. Were you shocked that Ottawa pulled that win off so big at home last night?
I was shocked for sure. Yeah. Ottawa seems like a team, like they always have the talent, but then they just never execute, and it's been like that the last few years. But I am shocked, but like I just feel like they're the team that kind of gets dirt kicked in their face all the time, and one of these days Ottawa's going to rise again. They're not going to be down forever.
And by the way, their Ottawa's next game is next Saturday, August 9th at 3 p.m. at BMO Field against those Toronto Argonauts. And that is going to be a huge game. By the way, George, Nick wanted me to say this too. Anyone that wants to go to the Argos Ottawa game next week, Saturday, August 9th, 3 o'clock, it's going to be Old-Time Argos Day, where they're going to introduce Nick Volpe and the late, great Chris Schultz into the Old-Time Argos category. So those two will be there. Well, not Chris Schultz, unfortunately, but Chris and Nick will be put into the all-time Argo list as the number 28 and 29 members. And for fans that want to go to this game, the Argonauts are giving out Make Wave hats to the first 5,000 fans. So if you want to get an Argo hat next week, get your tickets at argonauts.ca or get down to the stadium early, because those 5,000 hats will go away great. They'll be snapped up right away, and they're great hats, and they got Make Waves on it, and it's a nice trucker type hat by the Toronto Argonauts.
Awesome.
George, we're going to do this with you. We've talked about the Ottawa-Calgary game last night. We've already made our Argo-Winnipeg predictions. So the two other games this weekend are going to be both tomorrow. Saturday at 3 p.m., Hamilton 5-2 at Edmonton, 1-5 at 3 o'clock. And the 7 o'clock game tomorrow night is going to be 6-1 Saskatchewan at 5-2 Montreal, which is going to be a hell of a game. George, you're my guest co-host tonight. Let's go with your picks.
It pains me to say this. I think Hamilton's gonna smash Edmonton, to be honest. I can't really think of a score right now for that, but like I think it's good. I think that's gonna be the game where it's just like it's gonna be probably over by like the third quarter. To be honest. And then Montreal and Saskatchewan. That's gonna be. That one I'm gonna say it's gonna be high scoring. Like I'm gonna go like, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be kind of like what we predicted the Argos and the Winnipeg. It's gonna be like a 3-point game. I think it's gonna be like 34-31 or something like that. It's gonna be in the 30s, I think, for that one.
Hamilton and Edmonton. Common sense says Hamilton will win this game. But this is the CFL, and Edmonton, I think, is better than a 1-5 team. My brain says Hamilton. My heart says the Elks. And I'm going to go with the Elks in an upset over the Cats. I think the Cats might come into this game. I know Scott Milanovich, their head coach, is a great guy, no nonsense type guy. based on paper and talent, Hamilton should win this game handily. But I have a sneaking feeling that the Edmonton Elks are going to pull off the upset of the season tomorrow at 3 o'clock at home to Hamilton. And then the 7 o'clock game tomorrow night. This could be a Grey Cup preview, by the way. It could be Saskatchewan and Montreal. Games in Montreal. Davis Alexander's back playing for the Alouettes. I'm going to go with the Alouettes over Saskatchewan, and I tend to agree with you, George. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I'm going to say Montreal scores 30 points and Saskatchewan gets 27 points. So I got the Alouettes 30-27 over Saskatchewan tomorrow night.
Okay. Yeah, I had 34-31. So we're pretty close on our predictions. I like that.
And finally, George, as we wrap this show up, what's one fun fact about yourself, George? And where can our audience follow you on social media? And are you going to any more Argo games this season at BMO Field?
Okay. So fun fact about me. Well, besides being a CFL fan, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of some outside of sports. So that's kind of. that's kind of hard to think about because sports is my life. With Hulk Hogan passing away, some of my earliest memories, because my father passed away in a car accident back in 2011. But it's been like 14 years since that happened. But my earliest memories were, since he passed away, was we going, back when they had closed circuit television. I lived in this town in Torrington, Connecticut, and I was 3 years old. And this is like my first memory. We went to there was a famous theater in Torrington called the Warner Theater to go watch WrestleMania 6 with the Ultimate Warrior. So, I was like more of an old school wrestling fan and just kind of watching it until the 2000s. I kind of faded off a little bit, but I still go and watch the old school stuff on Peacock. So I guess that would be the most interesting outside of sports. That's one of my most interesting things.
George, there is a connection with the CFL and the WWE. Lex Luger played for the Montreal Alouettes. Lex Luger, who was in the WWE and WCW, played for the Montreal Alouettes. Roman Reigns played for the Edmonton Eskimos before they became the Elks. And Dwayne the Rock Johnson was a linebacker with the Calgary Stampeders in 1995 before they cut him and helped him into his wrestling and acting career as well. And I believe AJ Ouellette, when his football career is over, I believe AJ Ouellette I can see in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, he's already done a couple independent shows. I saw that one where he wore the Argos helmet and he speared somebody. That was crazy back then.
And finally, George, where can our audience follow you on social media? Best place to contact you.
It's Missouri Carrot Cow owner. That's my Instagram. It's Missouri _ Carrot Cow _ owner.
Well, George, I want to say thank you for coming on here tonight. I was hoping Nick was going to be on too, but unfortunately, Nick couldn't come on. Somebody hit a hydro pole near his house in the Toronto area, so Nick was unable to come on. But we'll definitely, George, bring you back on again later this year. We like to have guests on here from time to time, and we'll connect you with Nick. And hopefully, George, we'll see you at another Argos home game this year in BMO Field. And Matt Black, who was a part of the 2017 Grey Cup champion Argonauts team, I will make sure I mention you to Matt Black and Pinball Clements too, because they love their fans and they appreciate their fans, and that's why every time you go to an Argos game, you see the same people there. But we're trying to get more people to come out. It's a great product on the field, and they are 19-time Grey Cup champions. This organization knows how to win. George, I'm going to let you wrap it up because we've got CFL football tonight at 8:30. Hopefully the air quality will improve in Winnipeg where they can get the game off. Winnipeg, Toronto, TSN tonight or in the state CBS Sports Network. And if you want to listen to the game on the radio, TSN 1050 with Mike Hogan and Ben Grant. George, it was a pleasure having you on my show. Give me a little bit of time tonight and I will send you the video, the audio, and some reels and clips. And make sure you enjoy the Argos Blue Bombers game at 8:30 tonight from Winnipeg, or in your case, 7:30 Central Time.
Will do. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it.
And as me and Nick do this all the time, go Argos.
Go Argos, go!
Thanks, George.
All right. Thank you, Chris. You have a great one.
You too. All right, everyone. That wraps up season 4, episode 7 of the Argo Bounce Podcast show, normally with Nick Small and myself. Nick was unfortunately had a power outage at his home today, so Nick wasn't able to come on. But George Brown, who was our scheduled guest, filled in nicely for Nick Small tonight. And please follow George Brown on Instagram and social media. He loves the CFL. He's a huge Argo fan, just outside of St. Louis as well. So thank you to George Brown. And I want to say thank you to Ken and everyone watching this live stream tonight and on audio. And I know we got the Argos Blue Bombers game going on at 8:30 tonight. Both me and George agreed we have the Argos winning this game. George has it at 20-17 Argos, and I have 23-20 for the Argonauts as well. And this is a big game, especially with Ottawa winning last night, becoming 2-5. So this is a big game tonight for the Argonauts. And same with Winnipeg too. Winnipeg still wants to compete for first in the West. They really need this win tonight, and we'll see. But Chris Stradler is starting for Winnipeg, and Nick Arbuckle is starting for the Toronto Argonauts as well. And that wraps it up, guys. Again, the next Argo Bounce podcast show with Nick Small and myself to be announced. And we'll let you know who our next guest is as well. And before we wrap this show up, guys, I was in Cambridge, Ontario today, and I want to give a shout out to Alan and Greg. Alan and Greg, they're with Sparrow Brewing at 54 Guelph Avenue in Cambridge, Ontario. Sparrow Brew Company.com. That's Sparrow Brew CO.com, and they're on IG at Sparrow Brew Company or CO, and you can email them at info@sparrowbrewcompany.com. So a shout out to Alan and Greg from Sparrow Brewing in Cambridge. I sampled one of their beers today, and big thumbs up. And again, Sparrow Brewery is located at 54 Guelph Avenue in Cambridge, and you can check them out on social media, especially IG. And last week I was at the Butter Tart Festival in Elmira, and I want to give a shout out to Jared from the Garlic King, the best garlic butter spread I have ever had. You can check out his company's website at garlic with a capital G, king with a capital King, garlicking.ca as well. And that is about it, guys. And my next live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by barrycollin.com, is going to be on Monday, August 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern with my special guest, her first appearance, D. Nicole Newman. She's a public relations and marketing person with her own company called D. Nicole and Company. And she's also the talk show host of Testimony Friday with D. Nicole on Instagram as well. So I'm excited for that. And that wraps up episode 7 of the Argo Bounce podcast show, guys. I hope everybody has a great evening, great weekend, and enjoy the CFL action. And as always, go Argos. And special thank you to George Brown for coming in and filling in for Nick Small tonight. So again, go Argos, and we'll see you guys here next week for episode 8 of the Argo Bounce podcast show with Nick Small and Chris Pomay.
Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the top. Pull together till the Grey Cups won. Go Argos, go, go, go! Go Toronto Argos, go, go, go! Pull together, fight the foe, foe, foe. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they